Andersens. One's name is Chris, the other's name is Todd. They have a lot of open top 8s between them.
Yep.
However, who wins this one will add another to the resume. They'll shake hands, they'll get ready to do battle, and Todd Andersen will start with a Mountain, a Magmatic Insight, discarding a Shivan Reef, and we are off here in round number 15.
Yeah, this is a familiar spot for both of these players.
Yeah. The only thing they can't do is shake hands and draw.
Yep.
That's about the only thing that's unfamiliar for them right now is Todd will play an island and simply pass the turn back. Chris will draw a card after playing a Canopy Vista on the first turn of the game.
And as we saw earlier in the event, Chris is on this green-white token strategy, get a lot of creatures on the board, and his big payoffs are counters with Nissa, a token from Gideon, or a transformed Westvale Abbey.
A hanger back walker here for Chris, and he'll pass the turn back. We'll be going over to Todd Andersen now, his third turn of the game. That'll yield a Shivan Reef. And now, it's a Fall of the Titan. It's a very sad Fall of the Titan there from Todd Andersen.
It's not often we'll see turn 3 Fall of the Titans for 1.
Yeah, not pretty. Chris will get a Thopter from it. He'll pass the turn back.
But with the way this matchup is, Chris is almost playing a combo-style deck. It's not a dedicated beatdown deck that's going to get onto the board super fast. A lot of his early creatures are not effective without other cards to help them. So it might play into Todd's strategy.
Potentially.
Yeah, I mean, the mid-game is where Todd's deck really shines with things like Goggles and Thing in the Ice coming online to bounce everything back to people's hands. And I think that it's going to line up well against what Chris is trying to do.
Chris with a plant token there from his Nissa. Nissa up to 4, an attack from 1. And now we head back Todd Andersen's way. It's Thing in the Ice. 4 ice counters, of course, and just a passing of the turn. Back over to Chris Andersen. We shall go. Chris started 8-1 in this tournament. He'll reveal a forest to his fortified village, as did Todd. Now these players do run into each other where it matters the most here. An Elvish Visionary will net Chris a card.
And he's considering what he wants to do with this Nissa.
Looks like he's going to go up yet again. Another plant token. Chris can't find some in his stack. Perhaps we have one in one of ours.
I bet we can help him out.
Yeah, there we go. There's a little plant for Mr. Andersen. Here's an attack for 1. Todd going to fall a little bit lower here.
And it looked like Todd had the Goggles in his hand. So it's going to be extra interesting this game when each of these players has the setup that they want. You know, Chris has started with a lot of creatures on the board. He has a Nissa. Todd is starting out with Thing in the Ice, and he's going to have Goggles if he makes his land drop this turn. And we're going to see which of these strategies is going to win.
Well, Todd just going to pass a turn back.
Yeah, no land for Todd. Kind of a dagger for him.
Yep. But Chris is a little bit land heavy. Now, he's got Nissa, which is obviously very powerful, and he's got a lot of lands, but none of them are Westvale Abbey at this point.
Yes.
So it's kind of a weird draw for both of them right now.
One, we saw that Chris has a Secure the Waste in his hand, and now he has to consider, do I want to get this on the board now, put a bunch of tokens on it with Nissa and get a ton of pressure on my opponent, or do I wait for this Thing in the Ice to tick down a few times, and after my opponent flips it, then I'll deploy all of these guys and have backup in case all of the things get returned to my hand.
Now, this is a difficult decision here for Andersen because all that, well, excuse me, for Chris. Don't want to confuse the Andersens, but this is a difficult decision for Chris because, you know, again, this Thing in the Ice is just sitting here looming.
Yes.
What's up? I'm just kind of hanging out. And that's obviously not the truth, as here's a Lightning Axe, and the Fiery Temper is going to go after Nissa to finish it off.
2 counters off a Thing in the Ice.
Now each of these creatures will get a counter, of course, and Todd can safely just block here, take a little bit of damage, and move on with life.
Took 2 points from the creature, 1 from his land this turn.
Down to 14. Tormenting Voice, the draw.
And Todd's going, come on, deck, just give me the land.
He just wants to goggle up.
Yeah.
Tormenting Voice will be the play, discarding. Get a good look at that Lightning Axe there. This will allow Andersen to draw 2 cards. Shivan Reef is 1, Fiery Temper is 2. He wanted the land, he got it.
Yep.
Yeah, I think the last kind of card that Chris Andersen's deck wants to play against is exactly Thing in the Ice.
Yes.
Because Todd gets to really dictate the terms of engagement, and it's really tough because Chris is just playing a total guessing game. Do you have an instant? I hope not. Maybe I want to move in, maybe I don't.
Sure. Well, I expect Chris to be very patient right now. He's got a lot of lands to work with. He's not under a ton of pressure, and he has Secure the Waste in his hand.
Mm-hmm. Secure the Waste, oddly enough, a card that Todd's deck is a little bit soft to.
Yeah.
And you do have to wonder. Now, we talked about this when we watched Chris Andersen play a little bit earlier today. He played against, I believe it was Jim Davis. And does Chris want to show Secure the Waste? Does Todd know that Chris has Secure the Waste?
Mm-hmm.
That's the big question. It's unclear about how much each other knows about the other person's deck. There's the goggles. That's the problem card. We've seen it be very powerful for Andersen here this weekend. For Chris Andersen, it's attack. A quick block there from Todd Andersen. Todd will fall down to 8. Chris will just pass the turn back.
And you can see he's trying to be very patient with the Secure the Waste. He's saving it as a backup card. Unfortunately, with the goggles and the Thing in the Ice, this plan of just pecking away for only a few points a turn might not be effective enough to overcome what Todd's going to do.
It almost feels like it's not quite enough pressure to force Todd's hand just yet.
Yeah.
To bust the Thing in the Ice. But again, if Todd is aware that Chris has Secure the Waste in his deck and is assuming he has it in his hand because Chris isn't doing anything, then he's going to play the game in a very, very weird fashion to make sure that I can just blow Thing of the Ice whenever I need to.
Yes.
Chris will draw a copy of Nissa. He'll play a Plains. Same attack. Todd will fall down to 5.
And we might see Todd setting up for a big turn here.
Here's a Fiery Temper. Now, one thing I wanted to check here with Thing of the Ice is, do you have to remove an ice counter?
Mm-hmm.
And you do. It's
yes.
not a you may.
Yeah. It's almost too good if you have the choice.
Yeah, I think it makes sense with the flavor of the card, truthfully, where it's coming whether you like it or not.
Yeah, this thing's busting through the ice.
Yeah. So here's an attack for 7. I think Chris just might die right now. This feels like a Fall of the Titan turn.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that we didn't see a Secure the Waste with a chump blocker there.
Yeah, same here. Here's Magmatic Insight, or excuse me, here's Tormenting Voice. Chris wants to take the opportunity now to say, I'm going to play Secure the Waste for a bunch, and Fall of the Titan is going to kill you because it's being copied and it's going to deal a boatload of damage, and that's going to do it. So Todd Andersen is going to win game number 1 here against Chris Andersen. Blue-red control up a game there over green-white Titans, over green-white tokens, and I do think that was an opportunity that Chris had to take to chump block.
Yes.
I think that's really important.
He had so much mana at his disposal and so many tokens that losing 1 token to save 7 points of life was very significant.
Yeah.
And with Nissa in his hand to pump all of his other tokens, the extra token wasn't going to make a huge difference when he attacks Todd on the following turn.
Well, we're going to go to the sideboards here for both players. Again, another demonstration of the power of Thing in the Ice as we take a look at Chris Andersen's sideboard. He'll be on the play for game number 2. 4 Archangel Avacyn, 2 Clipwings, 2 Dromoka's Commands, 2 Silk Wraps, 2 Evolutionary Leap, 2 Strike the Hunt Caller, and then that lone Dragonlord Dromoka. What do you like here, Craig?
This is kind of a strange matchup where Chris needs to be the aggressor. We saw how Todd can almost combo kill people once he can double up on his Fireball spells. So a card like Surrak the Hunt Caller, which is a little strange to come in a token strategy that's not that aggressive, might shine in this matchup.
It'd be a weird inclusion, but I could see. I mean, 4 toughness is also a pretty big deal too.
Yeah, and it's in the sideboard for a reason.
Yep, it's very true.
He also has the Archangel Avacyn, which is going to save his creatures from some of Todd's key removal spells, and I could see the Silk Wraps coming in as a great answer to Thing in the Ice and to Jace.
Other side of things here very quickly for Todd Andersen. 4 Eldrazi Obligators, 4 Fevered Visions, 3 Negates, 2 Void Shatters, a Chandra Flamecaller, and then a Kozilek's Return. What do you like on that side?
I expect him to get a little bit controlling to get into that mid game where his deck really shines. So I expect the Kozilek's Return to come in, the Chandra Flamecaller to come in, and probably the Negates as well.
Well, these players are playing for top 8,
Yeah.
which means there's a healthy amount on the line. Now, as we said, neither of these players are a stranger to top 8, but they always want to get into the top 8 where that little check mark is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
To get an invite to an invitational, because that's what happens when you're top 8 and open. Now, I don't know, if you want to go down another one of these columns, how's prizes sound?
5 Geezers.
Yeah, just, you win this tournament $5,000.
I would retire.
You'd hang it up?
Yeah, I'd go into work on Monday, be like, hey, boss, don't need this anymore. I won 5 Geezers.
I'm all set. And you got 30 SCG points.
Yeah.
Too, which is a pretty big game. So whoever makes it in the top 8 and wins this match, at least walking away with 500 points. But maybe more important of the two, the 15 SCG points, because both these guys looking to get to the Players' Championship this year.
I joke a little bit, but this is a lot on the line for these guys.
Absolutely. Now, we learned a little bit more about him, and Todd Andersen is where we're going to start. We've seen him in the feature match area a couple times this weekend. We've talked about those 26 SCG Tour Open top 8s for the 29-year-old who lives in Roanoke, Virginia. The 6 Open wins, the 3 Invitational top 8s, the Invitational win a handful of years ago in Atlanta, and, of course, a runner-up, of the Players' Championship last year.
Now, we've talked about the NFL Blitz thing.
We have.
When you were young,
yes,
did you ever have the controller that was kind of broken to the gaming system?
I don't think so, no.
We had the Nintendo, the NES with the 4 controllers, and one of the kids has smashed one on the floor at some point. It doesn't work that well, and when your friends come over, and you always have that one that you want to see lose, he ends up with the controller that only works part of the time.
No, I can safely say this has never happened to me.
Okay, so I'm just saying, when Todd calls you out for this NFL Blitz challenge,
okay,
maybe he has a slight handicap when his controller doesn't work quite as well as it's supposed to.
I see.
You see where I'm going with this?
A little underhanded tactic by Todd Andersen.
No, that's just the way things break sometimes.
Oh, okay.
Who knows which controller is broken?
It's just random.
Yeah.
Right? It's just
it could have been yours.
For Chris Andersen, very quickly here, he has 17 SCG Tour Open top 8s. He's a member and captain of Team Lotus. Is a 26-year-old from Indianapolis, Indiana, 9-time Hearthstone legend. Brother is a singer, and he's been playing Magic for much of his life.
Oh, yeah.
And he's looking to make this Open top 8 number 18, as he is apparently taking a mulligan right now. So
that was 17 Open top 8s and 26 Open top 8s.
Yeah, quick math here. That's 1,000 between them.
And they're about to get one more, so 2,000.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive stuff here for both Chris Andersen and Todd Andersen. As again, Chris will be on the play. He'll be taking a look at 6 cards and scrying here in just a moment, I imagine.
How do you just show up and do well at every event?
I don't know.
Dedication, I think, is the answer.
Yeah.
But
they're also just both really good at Magic.
Yeah.
And they've both found, they both have, I'd say, pretty different play styles.
Yes,
and
definitely.
they've both found 2 very different decks that work for them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's very notable in this brand new format. This green-white tokens deck, which I would say is not on a lot of people's radar coming into the weekend. And then for Todd, a blue control deck, which not really on the radar. I think a lot of people looking towards the white cards, but this is just how Todd likes to play Magic.
Well, I think everyone knew that this blue-red deck was a thing, but they didn't know just how good it was.
There's a Westville Abbey. This is a Hangerback Walker for 1. And we head back Todd Andersen's way. Picked up a copy of Fall of the Titans, a Mountain. This is a Jace. Pretty powerful Magic card as Andersen goes down to 19. We're going to head Chris's way now. He will draw a copy of Declaration in Stone.
That's a good one. Doesn't have to play it right this instant, but it's going to be valuable later in this game.
He'll start with an Oath of Nissa. Take a look at the top couple of cards. He does have some to select from. And you got to remember, based off of what we've seen over the course of this weekend, it doesn't appear as though Jace is the kind of card that you have to kill right away anymore.
Not right away, but if there's a deck where you do need to do that, it's the deck that Todd is playing.
Yes. Negate the draw here for Todd Andersen. He will draw and discard with Jace. There goes the value in Drownyard Temple.
Combo!
Yes, it is. And now we head over to Chris Andersen, who's drawn another copy of Westville Abbey.
Deceptively good.
The Drownyard Temple?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
And that interaction right there, that's much better than you would think it is.
Here's a Gideon. And that's going to be countered by Negate. Hangerback Walker coming into the red zone. And we go over to Todd now. He will draw another copy of Negate. Negate, a very good card in this matchup. As here's an activation of Jace. Highland Lake the draw.
And we see a Chandra hanging out in his hand there. It's going to be interesting to see if he can accelerate that Chandra on the board a turn sooner and kind of catch Chris off guard.
Mm-hmm. Another Gideon the draw here for Chris Andersen.
We saw that Silk Wrap in his hand.
Mm-hmm.
Very good against Todd's deck.
Looks like he's going to go with Silk Rep now.
Yep, that's where he's going to start.
See if Todd cares about this. Keep in mind, Todd last turn discarded a Jace.
Yep.
And now he's going to let that Jace die. Now he does have a negate in his hand, but he's just going to let it go. Here's an Elvish Visionary. That'll resolve. Draw Chris a card. Here comes Hangerback Walker. I think we might see the Temple Chandra shenanigans that you just talked about. Yep. Slide that in. Time for Todd to untap. He'll draw. It's a subtle interaction, but it's a really nice one.
Yeah. Especially in a deck that needs so many resources to do what it's going to do. When you're casting Fall of the Titan, every land is so valuable.
Thing in the ice. Now what's interesting here is we could have just seen him play Chandra. I'm not sure how effective it would have been, but now we're seeing him go a different route entirely. He's going to go with Thing in the Ice because it's so effective against the tokens deck for obvious reasons. And now it's looked like he's going to go to Tormenting Voice, discarding. Fall of the Titan is a little surprising.
Yeah.
Thought we might see him discard a land there, but he'll draw a couple of cards. Highland Lake is 1, Fiery Temper is 2. There's a Mountain. Being able to leave up Negate is pretty powerful right now, and now Todd will pass the turn back over to Chris.
Yeah, the problem with deploying the Chandra that turn is that he blows up his opponent's Hangerback Walker.
Okay.
If he goes that route, he's got to remove 2 of the loyalty from Chandra, obviously. And the opponent's going to get 2 Thopters that will then finish off the 2 loyalty Chandra on the next turn. So not a whole lot of value to be had there.
For Chris, it's a Declaration in Stone. A negate here from Todd means he wants to protect this thing in the ice in a big way.
Yeah, I like Chris's play there. You want to get that thing off of the board as soon as possible, so that is not a problem. Unfortunately for him, Todd had the answer in negate.
Secure the Waste, Surrect the Hunt Caller, and Gideon, the cards in hand right now for Chris Andersen.
Are we going to see an attack with just the Lonely Visionary just to feel him out?
Just give him a little touch.
Yeah.
I don't think so, as Island is the draw. Here's 6 mana. There's Chandra.
Probably going to draw some cards here.
And cast the Fiery Temper. Yeah.
Not bad.
Not bad at all, as there goes Elvish Visionary. So 2 cards are discarded. 3 cards will be drawn. Kozilek's Return is 1. Jace is 2. Another Chandra is 3.
Yeah, it looks like Todd's really in the driver's seat.
It sure does. I think just deckless to deckless, I think this is a very hard matchup for Chris.
Yeah, this lines up well for Todd because Chris's deck, although it gets some guys on the board pretty quick, it's not that aggressive. It doesn't threaten the opponent that much.
Here's Surak. Formidable means it'll have haste. I think it's got some interest in going after Chandra here. Hangerback Walker might have some too.
Let's get frisky.
Yeah, it's an interesting decision on if you want to leave Hangerback Walker back to put it up to a 4/4, or if you just want to knock Chandra down potentially to 1, or, well, I guess Hangerback Walker just get blocked by Thing in the Ice potentially.
Yep.
It's actually a pretty tough decision here for Chris on what Todd would do.
It's a question if Chris thinks that Todd's just going to chump block, he wants that Hangerback Walker attacking.
Okay.
But if he thinks that Todd's just going to let his Planeswalker die, he wants to put the extra counter on the Hangerback Walker.
Kozilek's Return. Hello. Awoken Horror. Follow-up. Jace, attack for 7.
And this is where we see Todd, quote, turn the corner.
Yeah.
He's going from defense to offense, and a 7/8 does that fast.
A forest is the draw here for Chris Andersen. Things are not looking good for him right now, but he does have some cards in his hand that can be helpful. Remember, one thing about Awoken Horror, though that thing is huge, it's a 7/8, it can be chump blocked.
Yep.
And Gideon will make enough Knight allies to do that, assuming it sticks around for a while.
Well, he has the Secure the Waste in his hand. He has the Gideon. He has the Hangerback Walker that got bounced. So he does have a lot of staying power in order to slow down this game and clog the board.
Well, we head back over to Todd.
Look like goggles there,
That's fun.
which is probably the best possible draw for him.
Chris is going to go secure the waist. That'll resolve. A lot of 1/1s on the way.
5 tokens coming.
Chandra.
Gonna clean up some 5
I
tokens.
think you might be right. Yep. Jace activation. Maybe. He thought about it.
Yeah, he's wondering if Surak comes down and there's another creature to give haste. He can block with the Jace and transform it.
Sure. We'll activate. Void Shatter was the draw. There's Jace. Transformation complete. Up to 6. Pass it back. Chris will draw. He's going to need a good one. Gideon the draw. Chris wants to take a look at Todd's graveyard, see what kind of trouble he's in.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to like what he sees.
Todd has had all the answers this game. The negates have been critical for him. A couple of early removal spells, and then, like we said, he turns the corner into the Awoken Horror and Chandra to pressure his opponent very fast. And he still has the goggles in his hand as backup. It's a lot going on.
Sitting pretty well right now, you got to say.
Yeah, Chris took a long look at Fall of the Titans there.
Well, you don't like what you see on the other side when it comes to that card. That card is absurd. Two active Planeswalkers, Jason Chandra. And then that Awoken Horror for Todd Andersen. He's sitting pretty comfortably right now. Trying to put Chris Andersen away and add it to a very large growing list of top 8s for him. Chris Andersen looking to fight back, though, with a Gideon and a Hangerback Walker. Night Ally on the way.
Yeah, Chris is trying to pick the way that plays defense best over the next couple of turns. So getting a Hangerback Walker onto the board that when it dies, you get another token. You get Gideon, which also puts a creature on the board and stays around. It's a diversified couple of threats, multiple blockers, probably his best path to not die immediately.
Shivan Reef is the land. Pyromancer's Goggles. Chandra is going down to kill Hangerback Walker and the token. Jace is going down to, I think, recast
Fall of the Titans.
Fall of the Titans. Yep.
And this is going to get forked, so it's going to do 3 to Chris twice.
Yep.
And then the Awoken Horror will finish him off.
Yeah. And that is going to do it. Todd Andersen going to win this match over Chris Andersen, 2-0. Blue-red control will take care of green-white tokens. And for Todd Andersen, it's SCG Tour Open Top 8 number 27.
27. You said that's his age, right?